Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the gym. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. And, ready to talk about rotation. Oh, baby, rotation. They finally announced it. Oh, thank goodness the speculation is over. I remember, I don't know, maybe one of my moderators can help me remember. People love rotation. They love talking about rotation. People love it. It's like, thank you, Jesse, my goat. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Boom. Got it. Oh, yeah, we're talking about rotation today. People love talking about rotation. It's like this impending boogeyman happening every year. And I like to keep track of when the earliest somebody starts talking about the next rotation is. So now that this rotation has finally been announced, the 2024 Pokémon TCG rotation, I want to keep track because this is day one. I want to keep track of when will the first mention of the 2025 rotation come up? When will people start talking about, well, that card will probably rotate in 2025? Because last year, the earliest that the 2024 rotation was brought up was August. Yes, we got Lance. Lance in the chat says, some kind user was talking about 2025 rotation or 2024 rotation in August of 2023. August. Ooh. August. You know how many? Man, all right. Hold on, I gotta get chat up on screen real quick. I accidentally closed it out yesterday. Okay, we got chat back. Welcome to the stream, chat. You're here. Yes, I think the way to do it, you just go to pkmncards.com and then let's read the article first, okay? Let's read. I know. Let's read. Shall we? Shall we read? Now let's all read together as a class. Jesse, I'll have you read the first paragraph. Nice and loud, please. That's called popcorn reading, by the way, and is also a terrible teaching technique and something that teachers should not ever do. Yes, I learned that. I have half a master's degree in special education. Yeah, you're not ever supposed to do that. It's actually terrible for education. And kids retain very little about what they're reading when they're doing popcorn reading because they are more focused on the anxiety of reading in front of the class. And then the people not reading are either reading ahead or focused on how much the person reading is messing up. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, studies have shown that it is a very, it's actually a counterproductive technique. Very counterproductive. So anyways, don't do popcorn reading, all right? Just because your teachers made you do it, it's a good thing to nix. No more popcorn reading. During every championship series, Pokemon Organized Play removes older expansions from competition in the standard format with the goal of maintaining a healthy, competitive environment. This rotation challenges existing players to create new strategies and enables new players to get involved and play Pokemon events using the most recent releases. It also just keeps things fresh. Why don't you just say, you got to rotate, bro. Just keeps things fresh. Pokemon TCG Live also follows this rotation, so players can experience a consistent rule set no matter where they compete. All right, the standard format for 2024. Cards with the E regulation mark will no longer be legal for play in the 2024 standard format. Well, they made it all super nice and easy for us, didn't they? Wow, that is so convenient, just giving the cards the cards, just the letter. Back in my day, I got you, Kyle. Thank you for those bits. The kickflip, yeah. I know. In honor of rotation, I'm gonna do kickflips today. My board is gonna rotate. The format's rotating. Get it? Yes, I'll do kickflips. Just give me a second. I'm gonna get through the article first. Thank you, Jay Carr, for the sub in the 56 months. Thank you, and thank you to everybody who subbed to get the stream kicked off. Jay Carr, IRL Dino, Radiant Magikarp. Big boy Baxcalibur. Big body Baxcalibur, actually. McFarlane. Brandon Beelzebosel. Schmucktus. And Peter. Thank you all so much for those subs. I know, back in my day, we had to look at set symbols. The kids of tomorrow won't even know about set symbols, bro. They got life easy. All right. So E-cards are no longer. Cards with the F, G, and H regulation marks will still be legal to use, as will any future regulation marks that may be released. A card's legality status is no longer based on which expansion it is from. Even if a card is from a recently released expansion, players will need to refer to the regulation mark on the bottom of the card to see whether that card is legal for play. Yo, what's up, Purple Cliff Jack? Yo, thank you for that sub in the 30 months, man. Hopefully you're doing well. New cards still must follow the appropriate waiting period to become tournament legal, which is typically 2 weeks after their release. Moving forward, players should expect cards with the oldest legal regulation mark to rotate out of standard format when a new one is introduced. For in-person play Pokemon events, the standard format rotation will go into effect on April 5th. My goodness, it was so long from now. For digital play on TCG Live, March 21st. Okay, so we do have it a couple weeks before tournaments on Live, so you can get your testing in. Older versions of cards that don't have a regulation mark can still be used if the card is currently legal for play, like Rare Candy, right? You can use whatever Rare Candy you want. And Judge, right? Same there. The expanded format for 2024? Shut up. We don't have any updates on expanded. The expanded format will remain unchanged. See? Shut up. Why even mention it? Why even put it there? Update on expanded. We've got nothing to say. Players should double check which format is being used. Brother. All right. Apparently, the Portland expanded side event had 0 signups. Well, that's the thing, is like nobody has an expanded deck built. There's no reason to, right? Like, expanded is unplayable on TCG Live. It's unplayable in paper because why would anybody have a paper expanded deck built, right? It's just like just let it die, all right? Just let it die. Let it die. Nobody wants to play against a turn 1 Lugia, bro. No, nobody. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyways. Why do I think expanded is so dead within Pokemon? Because Pokemon as a game was never the way that the cards are designed, expanded format's not really possible in the Pokemon TCG. It's just, it has to do with design philosophy, and Pokemon very quickly just kind of turns into Yu-Gi-Oh! With like turn 1, turn 2, like checkmate wins in Pokemon because of the amount of draw power and things like that. So like, in order for the game to kind of remain Pokemon, like historically, some of the trainer cards have been very, very powerful. But in recent sets, the Pokemon Company has kind of dialed down the power of trainer cards, but really amped up the power of the Pokemon, right? And the Pokemon have increased in power exponentially over the course of the last 10 years. So like, so the problem is you've got these extremely broken trainer cards and these extremely broken Pokemon that were never meant to interact together because they were printed like over 5 years apart. And putting them in a pool together actually just creates like kind of a silly and not very fun experience, right? That's the problem with it. It's just like, it kind of turns into like a turbo sequencing puzzle, which some players who don't like to have interactive gameplay really like, because they just like their turbo sequencing puzzle and they don't really care about having a fun and interesting game. They just want to do their turbo sequencing puzzle and then just like stunt on their opponent and be like, haha, checkmate turn 2, haha, right? And things like that. So like, right, some people just want to Exodia, and like, all right, that's fine. Thank you, Jay Strike, for the Prime sub in the 5 months. Right. But as far as like being a game that actually feels like Pokemon, expanded format has fallen further and further and further from that as the years have gone by. And absolutely nobody is putting in the work to keep an updated ban list on the expanded format to try and make it a playable format, right? So like, nobody's updating it. Nobody's going through and being like, and people ask me all the time, well, what would you need to ban? What would you need to ban from expanded format in order to make it like a fun, enjoyable format? And it goes something like this. First of all, you'd have to ban all of the rule box cards. Then you'd probably have to limit each deck to maybe one type of Pokemon. And then you'd probably have to... Then you'd probably have to limit it to about one of each card per deck so that the overpower cards don't become too powerful, right? And then, and only then, maybe you have like a, you know, kind of a format that resembles the Pokemon TCG. Yeah. So that's the thing, is like expanded format, nobody's actually putting in the work to like, to curb expanded format and make it fun, right? But arguably, that's what I did with Gym Leader Challenge, right? Is like, if you put a certain amount of limitations and ban a certain amount of cards, I've even kind of like tongue-in-cheek said, like, if you want expanded to be a fun format, ban all rule box cards, right? Because the rule box cards are the least balanced cards in the format. And they're the cards that kind of make the gameplay really toxic. Because you've got like turn 1 Pikachu and Zekrom tag team GX. You've got turn 1 Horror House. Your opponent can't play any cards from their deck, and then you could do whatever you want. You've got all these crazy, crazy things that you could do on the first turn of the game. It's just totally broken, right? But if you remove all, and you've got Valiant, right? You've got all these different donk strategy. I mean, it's just so toxic, right? So like, in order to have a playable expanded format, you have to pretty much ban all the rule box cards, because they're way too powerful and they speed up the progress of the game way too much. So that's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of my thesis anyways. And really, when you get into talking about expanded format, you're talking about game philosophy, game design. What makes something worth playing? What makes a game fun? What makes a game worth returning to? What makes a game fun enough that players will build decks to play over and over again with their friends, right? And yeah, Jack says it kind of perfectly. If you wanted to play expanded, just play Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because Yu-Gi-Oh kind of exists as that kind of like turboed out checkmate style Exodia format. You could just do that, right? That kind of exists and it has a following. People play that. But with Pokemon, there's really no reason to be that. Because that's not really what Pokemon is. You know, so you're getting into like game philosophy and things like that. And, you know, what makes a game worth experiencing? What makes a game worth building a deck for? And that's a big thing. When you're talking about, Lance says, quick update. I found someone asking about next rotation in Discord dating back to May 15th, 2023. May 15th, everybody. Oh, all right. Let's see if we could beat that this year. Don't try to troll me and ask during this stream. It doesn't count. Don't try to troll me and ask about 2025 rotation this weekend stream. It has to be authentic. I'll know if you're cheating, bro. I'll know if you're cheating. Has to be authentic. Don't try to fool me. Has to be an authentic inquiry. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is expanded format's just not supported in any way. Nobody's really looking after it. Nobody's really putting in the mental effort. Nobody is putting in the mental effort to deduce what would make the expanded card, like, pool of cards a fun and promising pool of cards to play with, right? I mean, honestly, if you look at, like, the people who are putting in that mental effort are the fans. I mean, just honestly, right? Because the Pokemon company is not putting in the mental effort to try and deduce what would make expanded format fun and like a balanced playable format. Like, they had not. They kind of like just let it go. They were just like, well, we'll just kick the expanded can down the road and like, and so like nobody from like official Pokemon is doing it. So then fans started doing it, right? And like me. And that's why I created Gym Leader Challenge, because I was like, I really like these expanded pool of cards, but the gameplay is not fun or like worth visiting. So that's why I created Gym Leader Challenge. And Gym Leader Challenge is like my favorite way to play cards. I mean, I think like the expanded pool of cards has some potential. You just have to put some really serious limitations on the games in order to make the games feel like Pokemon again. Because if you just play the expanded card pool just as is, then you're going to have some really toxic, one-sided, lumpy games. So yeah. That's my shtick on expanded. Pretty funny that they still are mentioning it, though. I wonder if they'll do anything. But honestly, Gym Leader Challenge exists, and it uses the expanded card pool. So, like, that is breathing some life into the expanded card pool, right? Like, say the Pokemon company were to... what I really want the Pokemon company to do, like, league prize packs and introduce some older cards into the league prize packs. You know how they do now with like the holos and things like that. Like, why not just put a battle compressor in there? Put a Versus Seeker in there. Why not? You know, people know those cards aren't legal for standard. Like, just just sprinkle some old cards in there. Put a Float Stone in there. Yeah. Cosmos Hollow Floatstone. Put a town map in there. Listen, a man can dream, can't he? I don't know. I think if the Pokemon company ever wants to let... And don't say it would be useless to most players, because the Pokemon company Japan, they do this. Have you guys not seen The Pokemon Company Japan has done modern reprints of expanded cards. They have. Because that's Japan. We don't play expanded here, but people do play Gym Leader Challenge here. They do. Yes. People play Gym Leader Challenge. And people who play Gym Leader Challenge would find those cards really fun and useful. They don't have official, and in Japan, they don't have like official, you know, big Champions Leagues and expanded. They just use them as side events and fun tournaments. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could say the cards are useless to most players. Well, Battle Academy is useless to most players. But it's useful to people who, you know, are new to the game. League battle decks are useless to players who already have, decks. But not useless to people who don't. And Floatstone prize cards would be useful to people who play Gym Leader Challenge and maybe useless to people who don't. It's actually okay to make products for, you know, certain pockets of players within the community because not all products are designed for all people. Right on. Thank you, Cabled, for the Prime sub and the 27 months. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Yes, JTJ. And just like the Battle Academy has a use for families and people learning the game, a Floatstone reprint or Versus Seeker reprint would have uses for people who play Gym Leader Challenge, of which there are people all over the world who do so. So you're literally defending my point. It has its uses, right? Now, just because you might not use it doesn't mean that there aren't people who would. Also, yeah, Pokemon prints useless cards all the time. Want me to show you a couple? I'll show you a couple right now. This card. Oh, I know. How about this card? Is this card useful? I don't know. Probably not. All right, I'm getting one guide so hard right now, but I can't stop. I can't stop, chat. I can't help it. What about this card? This card's useful. It's not useful. All right, anyways, let's move on. In honor of our rotation discussion, which is going to be happening today, I'm going to make my board rotate with some kickflips. So you can predict, will I land 3 out of 5 kickflips? On my old trusty skateboard over there. 3 out of 5. Will I land it? Rotation. Rotation fun. Thank you for the segue grade there, Lance. I appreciate that. And then All right, we've got what? So everything. Let's look up all the cards that are rotating. Advanced. And everything from E will no longer be legal. A, B, C, D, E. Are there D cards legal right now? No, so it's just E? All right, cool. So these are all the cards that are rotating, all the cards with the E. All right. So here's what we're going to do today. You know, I might if I really am hating myself enough, I might boot up the Pokemon TCG Live. But maybe we won't. Our goal today is going to be to determine, as a community, the top 10 most impactful rotated cards. That is today's goal. And maybe this won't take very long, in which case I will have to boot up the Pokemon TCG Live. Maybe so. Okay. There we go. Trusty text edits. I wrote every college paper on text edit. Trusty application right here. Every college paper I've ever written has been on text edit. All right. And here we go. Kickflip time. Oh yeah, baby. Let's go. Oh, 4 out of 5. We'll count it. 4 out of 5. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yo, that first one was crispy, though. That first one, I came out swinging with that one, bro. Let's freaking go. You're right, I didn't create any drama with that one. Usually I leave it to kickflip number 5. All right. Well, let's go. Okay. Let's see, we're creating a list. The top 10 rotated Pokemon cards. I'm also just going to be generally talking about kind of, you know, rotation as we go too. There we go. So, we got 21 pages of let's take some shout outs. All right, here. This is your time to contribute. What do you think? What cards do you think deserve to be on the list? This is your time. Comfy's not rotating. Oh, yeah. Guardy, Peonia. Judge isn't rotating. Celebration Kyogre. Avery. That's a good one. What size board do I use? An 8. I used to skate 7.5s when I was in high school, but dang, boards have just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now I skate 8s, and I can't imagine skating anything smaller than an 8 now. But I used to skate like little toothpicks. I mean, everybody used to skate like 7.5s back in the day. Zacian V. All right. Am I skating curbs yet? That's a true sign that you're old. I can't wait to get there. Yeah. a true sign of age. You've started skating curbs. Okay, cool. I think we got a lot of cross switcher. Does cross switcher actually rotate? Probably. It's a wrap. No, it's not a wrap straight card, is it? No. Thank you, Poke Dubs. The sub in the 33 months. Cross switcher's fusion. That's right. I was like, it's a something card, isn't it? It's fusion. Yeah. Oh yeah, Suicune V. Suicube. Okay. Peony. True. Cool. All right. The top rotated cards of 2024. All right. Cool. So yes, all cards from the E block are going to be rotating out of standard. Some of these cards never got to see the light of day, like Cinderace with the Crisis Power ability. Yeah, not really ever good. Some cards were at one point incredibly good, but have not been played lately, like Quick Shooting Intellion. There was a time when Quick Shooting Intellion was an extremely important card in a lot of decks. Arceus Intellion decks, Palkia Intellion decks. But Quick Shooting Intellion was really, Rapid Strike Intellion was really just kind of paled in comparison to the power of Sword and Shield base set Intellion with its Shady Dealings ability. Even in Gym Leader Challenge format, many players opt to play the Shady Dealings Intellion over the Quick Shooting Intellion. So Quick Shooting Intellion kind of gonna fade off into obscurity and get forgotten, even though it was one of the most impactful cards for a while. Clara has kind of been a staple in a lot of Lost Box decks and is just kind of grown into a comfy recovery card. In the absence, for a while, the Pokemon TCG did not have a Super Rod or a Rescue Stretcher equivalent, right? And Clara kind of fulfilled that role as a solid recovery card that saw like a healthy amount of play. If you wanted to get Pokemon or energy back from the discard pile, Clara gonna do that for you. And I think as a testament to Clara's strength, Clara still sees play now, even with Super Rod in the format. And Super Rod is obviously an incredible card, shuffling 3 Pokemon or energy or combination of the two back into the deck. But what Clara offers is that instant recovery to the hand, which then you can immediately apply to the board and use to stream attacks. I mean, most notably, the Lost Zone Charizard Sableye deck, Sablezard, uses Clara. Once you get to 10 cards in the Lost Zone, you can just use Clara to bring back Sableye Psychic Energy and then boom, send them back up, right? And you just kind of do that to use Lost Mine over and over again. And Clara is just stronger than Super Rod in those situations because Super Rod puts those cards back into the deck. Clara gets them straight to hand. So Clara, a card that fulfilled a very necessary recovery role for a while when Super Rod was not legal, but even after Super Rod became legal for play again, Clara had a lot of staying power in standard formats, and I think is a card that will definitely be missed. So I think as I'm going through, these are kind of like, cards that we want to think about, but I think I'm going to, cards that I think, could very well belong on the top 10. I'm going to make like kind of a separate list, and we're going to, make them like green or something. Yeah, top 10. And then Clara could be on the top 10, okay? It's not saying that it is on the top 10, but I could see Clara being on the top 10. And here we go. These are going to be the potential cards. Potential cards for list. And then obviously the goal is to make this all into a YouTube video as well. So that's like, you guys are kind of seeing how the making of the YouTube video right now, right? I might want to use Excel or Google Sheets, better for organizing and readability. Shame on you for suggesting that. You think I've ever used Excel or Google Sheets before? Absolutely not. Everything that I need to do, I could do on text edit, okay? Everything. Yes. Every college paper I ever wrote, I wrote on text edit. Text edit was there for me when I didn't have anything else. I don't run full grip. I don't. I simply advertise for Full Grip. I am an artist. I have an art degree. What do you think? What do you think I do? I am a creative. I'm not an Excel kind of guy. Does TextEdit have spell check? The entire computer has spell check because it's a Mac. All right. Use Paint? You think this computer has Paint on it? No. Listen, when I was in college, it was like 2007, 2008, 2009. All right. Paint is Windows, guys. Yes, I have Photoshop. You guys want me to do this on Photoshop? I'll do it on Photoshop, bro. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will do this on Photoshop. Is this what you want? As I was saying. We're trying to talk about rotated cards. All right, can everybody in the back, you can all see my charts, can't you? You can see my charts. You can see everything's clear. Okay. There's no problems here. You can all see the cards. You can read them. All right. I've got things over here. We're scrolling through cards. We've got the list over here. Good? The phone watchers need this to be bigger. All right, fine. We'll go up to 24. Boom. Man, that's a good looking. Oh, yeah, Mirage Step. Okay. Melanie. Melanie ended up being a solid card. I mean, it saw play with Urshifu VMAX, which I think is a funny place for this card to see play. Melanie obviously accelerates water energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon V. It seemed to me that Melanie was always going to be a good card because of the fact that Welder was a good card, and Welder was kind of the predecessor to Melanie. Welder, I think, was a stronger card overall because Welder allows you to accelerate to any kind of Pokemon and it gets you 2 fire energy, right? And you had cards like Giant Hearth, which could get the fire energy out of the deck. Welder was definitely a stronger card than Melanie, but Melanie definitely held her own and was a solid supporter card. It saw play in those Palkia V-Star decks last year, and also saw play in Urshifu VMAX decks, and sees play still in Urshifu VMAX decks all the way up until right now. So I think that Melanie is a card that saw some play throughout. Yeah, saw play in Arceus and Inteleon as well, just as a way to get extra energy into play. So Melanie is definitely useful. In a lot of ways, I think that Melanie is kind of outclassed by another similar card, Raihan. And I really can't talk enough about Raihan. I think Raihan is just a very, very powerful supporter card. It's, you know, a general energy accelerator. It can accelerate any type of energy to any kind of Pokemon, and that's part of what makes it so good. You think Melanie was used more than Raihan? Maybe my Gym Leader Challenge bias is showing. I don't know. Raihan's kind of nuts. Raihan, I don't know. What do you guys think? Was Melanie actually used more than Raihan? In the like Raihan in my mind is like the better card by a lot. Melanie's still around. Raihan was played in. Raihan was in a regional championship winning Sablezard deck just less than a month ago, guys. Literally less than a month ago. Like, Brood, bro. Melanie was in more decks? Yeah. I guess so. God, Raihan just seems like the better card, though. But I guess Pokemon V are just more powerful, so. Was it an Ice Rider, Palkia, and Arceus? Yeah, I guess. Dang, so you're telling me that, like, Melanie would be... God, I feel like Raihan's just such a better card than Melanie. Melanie was in my own Goodra list, that's true. Yeah, I think that the difference is Raihan was like a responsive card. It's better in single prize decks. But Melanie, I think, and we're kind of just seeing like, you know, like obviously I play a lot of Gym Leader Challenge, and Raihan is like a staple in many Gym Leader Challenge decks because of its power as an energy accelerator. But Melanie, I think, is indicative of like where the format was, just like beefing up powerful Pokemon V to attack as early as the first turn of the game, right? You think about like the Turbo Suicune deck, right? You guys remember Turbo Suicune V? My goodness. Yet now that I'm thinking about it, Melanie was way more played. Yeah, Melanie is aggressive. It gets your Pokemon V rolling as soon as the first turn of the game. Yeah. I guess so. That makes sense. Yeah. God, I do hate the design of Pokemon V, but yeah, Melanie was nuts, I guess. You're right. But I think Raihan is a card that I think is just so good. So good. It's such a powerful energy accelerator. It was used in Arceus decks. It was used in Lost Box decks. So I guess it wasn't quite as prevalent as Melanie was, since Melanie was just used to get these powerful Pokemon V up and rolling very quickly. But yeah, that definitely kind of helps me to put things in perspective. Rock on. Zacian V. Guardy is going to take a big hit with rotation. I mean, look how many cards are on this list that Guardy loses. Guardy is losing VIP Pass. I mean, everything's losing VIP Pass. My goodness. Celebrations Mew. Fog Crystal. Shining Arcana. In Zacian V. Even Avery is a card he uses. Right? Mirage Step. It's a lot of cards. Level Ball. Level Ball's on here. Faux show, bro. Yeah, many Guardy lists are not even playing Zacian anymore. It's true. I wouldn't put this card on the list, but it is kind of worth it to just think about the sheer number of cards that Gardevoir is losing out of the pool. And kind of just, we're passing Zacian, so I'll just kind of mention that. The entire Mew deck, my goodness. Mew freaking VMAX. All right, Mew VMAX. I think the entire Mew deck just gets its own spot on the top 10 list. I mean, and it probably is just the top of the list, if I had to guess, because people still out here playing Mew, bro. A lot. And they won't stop. They will not stop. It won Worlds. You look at, tournament results, even going to, the most recent Portland Regional Championships. Mew VMAX, Mew VMAX, Mew VMAX, Mew VMAX, Mew VMAX, Mew VMAX. My God. It's like an infestation on top 16, bro. This deck is 2 years old. That's crazy. Even I had a stint with Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX carried me last year. Yeah, I mean, obviously VIP Pass is definitely on here too. But with Mew VMAX rotating, Mew VMAX is kind of like the big bad Pokemon VMAX. I mean, without a doubt, thank you, Yumi Force and Hiker Ant. Without a doubt, Mew VMAX ended up being the most powerful VMAX card ever printed. Is that even up for debate? I think that's just guaranteed, right? Thank you, Roots Radical, for that Prime sub. Yeah, Mew VMAX might just be one of the best decks ever. Genesect, right. I mean, when we say Mew VMAX, we're kind of talking about the archetype as a whole. Mew freaking VMAX, the most powerful Pokemon VMAX ever printed. most powerful draw engine. Is it the most powerful draw engine ever? It feels like the best draw engine ever printed, right? The only thing that would come close is Claydol, and Claydol is a stage 1. You could draw up to 6 4 times. I mean, Shaman EX was pretty good too, but Shaman EX was like, Shaman EX was a better card than Genesect V because it had more applications. So when I'm talking about a draw engine, like the Fusion draw engine is kind of more powerful than Shaman EX, but Shaman EX had more applications. It was ridiculous. The most powerful draw engine of all time. It's absurd. The deck just draws itself out completely. Shaman might be a better card than Genesect V, but as an engine, Genesect V was a better engine than playing 3 Shaman in a deck, right? The power that 4 Genesect EX brings to a Mew VMAX deck is more power than 4 Shaman EX brings to any other deck. It's more power, right? Now, Genesect can only lend its power to a Rapid Strike deck, or to a Fusion Strike deck, sorry. But as an engine, it is better than Shaman. But Shaman's a better card than Genesect because it has more applications. So yeah. I mean, Mew VMAX, right? What more needs to be said about that? Mew VMAX is so powerful. Mew VMAX is so powerful it's so... Just the deck plays Path, man. the deck plays Path, man. Its weakness, it plays it. Because it's less weak to its own weakness than other decks are. That's how messed up it is. That's how messed up it is, bro. Yeah, Mew VMAX plays all of the best cards on the list, right? It'll play VIP Pass. It plays Pass to the Peak. Right, even cards that were printed to directly counter Mew VMAX were mostly just useless. And it does seem very clear. I agree with you, Jesse. VIP Pass was a card that was like designed, I think, exclusively for the Mew VMAX deck. I don't know if the card creators expected almost every deck to play VIP Pass. Drapion, Klefki, and Spiritomb. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, part of the reason nobody plays Mew counters is because it feels pointless. You could play a Mew counter and still lose. And not to mention the format's just so wide that, and Mightyena, my goodness. Remember when they thought Mightyena would do it? I thought Mightyena would do it. I was like, you get to knock it out for free. Yeah, that's crazy. Rescue Carrier was a good card for single prize decks. Not a card that saw a wide amount of play. Very select play and kind of off the beaten path single prize decks like maybe like you might see one in like a Zorro box. Maybe you might see one in a Wings of Union deck. Rayquaza VMAX, Rapid Strike Malamar. God, remember that deck? Rayquaza VMAX, dude. Stoutland, yeah, Stoutland was that dude when Lugia V-Star had powerful colorless energy, but then quickly fell off once rotation happened last year. So we're losing Stoutland, but we're not really losing anything there. No love for Greedent. Yeah, we're going to lose Greedent. I don't think that anybody's really worried about Greedent. Duraludon VMAX. Man, some people just played Duraludon VMAX for like an entire year. I don't understand those people, but they exist. You just win certain matchups. Arcdura, baby. Yeah, it can't be damaged by Pokemon that have special energy attached to them. The thing is, even when I was playing Mew VMAX, I was like, dude, Duraludon is so free. Even when I was playing Mew. Yeah, Riley won the first. Yeah, it's true. The first set where Duraludon VMAX was legal, Riley won that tournament, the full grip tournament. True. Right when Duraludon VMAX was released, Riley won with Arcdura. But yeah, I used to think that matchup was free, dude. Duraludon VMAX, the card that's kind of fallen off with Arceus's decline. Generally, don't tell that to Mechanictron. Duraludon is also kind of seeing a decline in play. Was Rayquaza VMAX like the biggest letdown of the E block? What card was the biggest letdown of the E block, and why it wasn't Rayquaza VMAX? Man, I thought this deck seemed so cool. You get to draw so many cards. Shadow Rider? No, Shadow Rider lived up to the hype. It fell off hard. But Shadow Rider was a top deck for a little while. It was like the best deck in format for a little while. Professor Burnett. It's funny. This card, saw play for a few months in Lugia decks. But other than that, like, anybody who's been playing this game since the black and white days just looks at this and scoffs like, they don't make cards the way they used to. Spineless battle compressor. Or is this X and Y? X and Y. Back in my day, I had battle compressor. I could discard three cards from my deck as an item. Pfft. Supporter. Discarding 2. Thank you, Regged It, for the Prime sub in the 4 months. So yeah, Professor Burnett going. Judge is not rotating because we've got a print of Judge. Gordy. Blissey V. It's one of the OG Path to the Peak decks. Shiny set's getting Judge, but also there's a Judge print in Scarlet and Violet base set, I think. Blissey V. This card was actually kind of a house. $250 HP, basic Pokemon, Blissful Blast with powerful colorless energy, double turbo. You could really load this thing up and hit some really big attacks. Did it ever do well in Masters? Got second place at a regional championship. Didn't it? I think, you guys remember when it was Duraludon Blissey in the finals of regionals? I'm going to be honest with you, I forgot which one won. But I think it was Duraludon won. Milwaukee 22, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. This was a good deck. Second place regional championship, Blissey V. That sounds awful. Well, it was kind of a joke at the time. People were like, Duraludon versus Blissey? Soda King says Blissey got second at EU once too. Yep. Yeah, Blissey was a cool card. Cape of Toughness, give it 300 HP. Yep. That was a cool one. Corviknight VMAX. I know we had some Arceus Corviknight heads out there. Mr. Squeezle, one of our regulars, top 4 to regional championship with Corviknight VMAX. Don't think I forgot. That's right. Just a big dude with free retreat that people were playing with Arceus for some time. Blaziken VMAX. Talk about disappointments. Dang. I know we got a lot of Blaziken fans out there. This card never materialized at all. Not even close. $130 damage? What a pitiful attack. Doesn't even 2-hit KO V-Stars. Cricketune V. Cricketune V saw some play, right? What was like... What was Cricketune V seen in the most? Anything? Did Cricketune V ever get in there? Yeah, thank you, Jacob, for the sub and the 51 months. It was seen in Rayquaza VMAX. Yeah. Barely. And Rapid Strike Urshi Moltres. Yep. But then Bibarel came out and yeah, Cricketune. And now we got Mew. And see, like Mew EX is so much better than Cricketune V, but they're like the same card. The difference is Mew EX has got free retreat. That's the difference maker. If this card had free retreat, I think it would have been better. Just like a much better card. But now Mew EX sees a lot of play. Well, yeah, Mew can attack, but how often are you really attacking with Mew? And most decks are not restarting multiple times. But, I mean, you could, sure. If this had free retreat, filling your hand to 4 would be nuts. Yeah. Yo, the Flaffinator dog. Flaffy. You know, Flaffy kind of goated for real. You know, Flaffy came out a long time ago, and in evolving a long time ago in 2020, what, 2021 or something. All right, Flaffy came out a long time ago, and originally Flaffy was lumped in with the failure of the card that was Rayquaza VMAX, okay? Kind of like how Roquan Smith used to be on the Chicago Bears, right? Just a terrible team. And then Flaffy got traded to a better team, Miraidon. Kind of like Roquan Smith, who plays for the Baltimore Ravens now. And everybody knew everyone knew that Flaffy had potential. But that potential was just not being tapped fully or appreciated fully in Rayquaza VMAX. But then when Flaffy got traded over to Miraidon EX, Flaffy's powers got fully realized. No, I'm not making the YouTube video right now. I hope it's pretty obvious. I am just shooting from the hip right now. Once we make the list, I'll go through and film it probably off camera. Just to it'll be a short and sweet top 10. This is a very conversational making of the top 10 that we're hosting right now. Now, Flaffy has gone on to win regional championships. Has gotten top 32 at the World Championships. Won an international championships. Look at all those amazing things you did, Flaffy. Wow. Dynamotor still got it, bro. And isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, you know what? I will put Flaffy on here. We'll put Flaffy on. Maybe Flaffy makes the list. It did win a national, win a regional, and top 32 worlds this year. I mean, that's them are stats for sure. And isn't it crazy that Flaffy is the same card as this? This is what blows my mind. My very first Pokemon TCG deck, my very first deck was a deck that used Electric. Mewtwo EX featuring Electric. My very first deck. And then over 10 years later, the same exact card with the same exact stats and the same exact ability is still incredibly impactful in the Pokemon TCG. Which is really cool to see, because we've had 10 years of power creep, and God knows that power creep has been, it's been a lot. But to see the same card with the same stats make that transition and still succeed is really cool. I like that a lot. And it was very fun and rewarding for me to get to play this card at the World Championships this year. Right before it rotates too, bro. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's see. Tournaments. World Championships 2023. Bro, I've got the top placement with Flaffy at the World Championships ever. Let's freaking go. That's right. I know this is 2022. I had to check 2022 because I was 2023. And I'm pretty sure there was not a single Flaffy above me in 2023. Haha, that's right, baby. That's right, baby. Let's go. Best Flaffy finish at Worlds ever. That's sick. I'm really excited that I got to play this card at Worlds before it rotated. It kind of, you know, it felt very cool to be able to play this card at the World Championships, since Electric was like my first favorite deck. To get to kind of play that strategy again at Worlds was really sick. Flaffy will be missed. Thank you, Darts, for the Prime sub in the 13 months. Adventures Discovery is going, but obviously so are like a ton of Pokemon V, so that's fine. And then forever in Gym Leader Challenge. And that's part of what I love about Gym Leader Challenge. If you don't like rotation and you're sad to see your favorite cards like Flaffy go, guess what? Flaffy lives forever. In Gym Leader Challenge, baby. That's right. Shadow Rider, Calyrex VMAX, and Ice Rider, Calyrex VMAX. I'll wait till I get better pictures of those two artworks. You know what? These will work. Okay. Shadow Rider, Calyrex VMAX. Ice Rider, Calyrex VMAX. Shadow Rider Calyrex is not a good card anymore. But for a while, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX was the most oppressive deck in standard formats. And in my opinion, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX was part of the downfall of expanded format. Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX came out at a time when Tag Team Pokemon GX were still legal, and you had Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX, right, with the Horror House GX attack. And this deck was just so toxic, right? Because you would go turn one, you would choose to go second, and you'd go turn one Horror House GX. And then by turn two, you would have a board full of Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAXs. And then you just go Underworld Door, boom, 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 get a bunch of energy in play, and then knock out whatever your opponent had. And since you use Horror House GX, right, your opponent couldn't play any cards from their hand during their turn, which effectively means that they have to pass, right? I don't know if you guys have ever tried to play a turn without playing any cards from your hand, but there's not much to do. If you don't have enough energy on board to attack, then you're just passing, right? You can't play a supporter. You can't play any items. You can't attach an energy. All you can do is attack. So if you have an attacker in the active with enough energy on it, which is highly unlikely since you went first, couldn't play a supporter, and couldn't do anything. So Gengar Mimikyu allows you to just take back-to-back turns, basically. And Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX utilize that to become a very powerful deck, you know, when it first came out. And then when the tag teams rotated out of standard format, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX fell off very hard, and Eternatus VMAX was released, right? Was Shadow Rider before or after Eternatus? Shadow Rider was before, right? After. Had to be after. All right. So then what came out that made Shadow Rider bad? It had to be after, because Eternatus rotated last year. Yeah. What came out that made... Was it Mew? Path came out? It was Path? Yeah. Well, Path was out in the same set, wasn't it? Yeah. I think what caused Shadow Rider to really fall off was the lack of Gengar. It was just not nearly as good. Yeah. Really just, Gengar Mimikyu rotating made the card not nearly as good. The extra turn was everything. Yeah. And Shadow Rider kind of fell off into obscurity after that. Block where every single set they released was the new BDIF. It was like Zacian, the new BDIF. Dragapult, the new BDIF. Eternatus, VMAX, the new BDIF. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, the new BDIF. You know we need to beat that? Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, the new BDIF. You know what's even better than that? Mew VMAX, the new BDIF. You know what's even better than that? Arceus V-Star, the new BDIF. You know what's even better than that? Palkia V-Star, the new BDIF. You know what's even better than that? Lugia V-Star, the new BDIF. You know, space during the Sword and Shield block where every single set they released was the new BDIF. It was like Zacian, the new... Yeah. Literally, I mean, like, literally, that was it, though. Yo, thank you, Boyish Good Looks, for that sub. I appreciate it. That was the... That's why I hate this. I hate the Sword and Shield block. I do. The Sword and Shield block was disastrously designed. It was miserable. The entire Sword and Shield block was that. They printed a card, and then they countered the card. They printed a card, they countered the card. They printed the card, they countered the card. Like, horrible. Just absolutely horrible design philosophy. BDIF means best deck in format. It's a term used across card games. Yeah, every single set was like a one-up on the last set. Sheesh. What a nightmare, right? And then so you had like Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX was the best deck for like a couple months. And then Mew VMAX came out and then was the best deck, right? And it's just like every single deck was like the next best deck. Thank you, Oski Boy, for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. And then you had Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX had a much less... it came out at the same time as Shadow Rider. Its initial impact on arrival was... not nearly as impactful as Shadow Rider's, because Shadow Rider was like the best deck. But Ice Rider, I think, had a more stable lifespan than Shadow Rider did. Shadow Rider kind of like peaked real fast and then fizzled out. Ice Rider, I mean, it's just a solid attacker. 2 energy to do 250 damage. Yep. It's fine. Got played with Melanie, got played with Palkia, got played with Path to the Peak. Ice Rider won Worlds in Juniors 2022. Yep. Just a solid dude. And I think part of Ice Rider's strength is that it can be played with Path to the Peak. That was like one of the major selling points of this card, is that you could play it as like it was not an ability reliant card like Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX was. So you could play it with disruption. I mean, and some people were even playing Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX with Bibarel and Path to the Peak. Yeah. With a choice belt. With a choice belt, it could hit 280 damage to knock out Pokemon V-Star as well, which is super relevant. There is a card choice band, which is why I always get those mixed up. In my mind, it's like choice band and choice belt. They both came out like recently, right? Well, yeah, choice band, that was just the other year. Yeah, 2017. 2017, baby. Feels like yesterday. Yeah, so Ice Rider and Shadow Rider, both good. They were fine cards, but not top 10 rotators. But they were fine. They will not be missed. Pokemon VMAX pretty much don't get played anymore, unless you're talking about Mew VMAX. So, Shining Arcana Gardevoir. We've kind of talked about this, but yeah, Gardevoir is losing a lot. Gardevoir, it's almost easier to just talk about what Gardevoir keeps than it is to talk about what Gardevoir loses, because Gardevoir loses quite a bit. It loses Mirage Step, it loses Shining Arcana, it loses Fog Crystal, and Celebrations Mew. So, what will Gardevoir decks look like? It keeps Psychic Energy, right? What? So I think that's like a super relevant question, right? While we're kind of here talking about rotation, what will Gardevoir decks look like going forward, and are they still viable, right? The major thing is you get to keep Kirlia. Kirlia is printed in Silver Tempest, thank God. Without Kirlia, it's really not looking good. You get to keep Kirlia. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Kirlia, you're chilling, bro. You are chilling. Yeah, you're chilling. You got Kirlia, right? So the deck will probably play. You'll be like, you're probably still gonna want 4 Kirlia, just as the draw engine for the deck. A 4-4-2 line. Yeah. That's the thing, is like, you just playing a 4-4-2 line? I guess so. Because you don't need to evolve into Shining Arcana anymore. So you could play with an Arven TM Evolution thing. You could. You got no level ball either. That's true. Woo, baby. But yeah, your main attackers probably, you got the Drifloon, and you've got the Balloon Blaster, and you've got Screamtail. Which both jive with the deck really well. So I think that's fine. Probably just Screamtail, right? Because if you play Screamtail and then you can play the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, or you could play the cape, Luxurious Cape. Both of those. You could play Buddy Poffin, which is nice. Buddy Poffin allows you to search out your vaults very easy. So that's good. Yeah. You'll be fine. No more Radiant. Is Radiant Greninja still around? Yeah, Radiant Greninja. Man, I wish all the Radiants would rotate for real. We still got Radiant Greninja? We're chilling. We're fine. As long as we still got Radiant Greninja, Guardy's chilling. Look at how much draw power you got. Yeah, you lose this thing. You don't need to play reversals anymore. Yeah. And your deck is a little bit more susceptible to, like, spread stuff, I would say, because you're keeping these 80 hit point Kirlias in play pretty much the entire game. So spread strategies are going to be probably a little bit more painful because all of it seems like all of your attackers are like becoming very small, right? Because you got like Screamtail has almost no HP, Kirlia's got almost no HP. You could play Gallade, I suppose, yeah. Buddy Catch? You could Buddy Catch. You could play, sure. You could put one Buddy Catcher in there. Sure, why not? You've got Refinement Gardevoir, too. If you want to evolve, I feel like you probably play this. You probably play this one. Maybe one of them. Just to, like, make your Kirlias less small against, like, Sableye. Maybe. You don't attack with it. This is just a bigger HP. It's just more than 80 HP. One of for the loss. That's what I'm saying. Maybe a one of just for the Lost Zone box matchup. You attack with Magical Shot. That's kind of annoying for Lost box to deal with, right? Yeah, and you could Refinement twice in a turn. It's true. 2 for 120. It's so over. Nah, that knocks out everything in the Lost Zone deck. You're chilling. Yeah, you can Refinement, evolve, Refinement again. Yeah, it's not the worst card. I'm just saying, you might think about it. It's either that or what? You guys going to play? Are we doing this? Is this what we're doing? Ain't no way this is what we're doing. It's either that or the... I don't care that you can't accelerate to it. I don't know. Play a Poppy or something. Play Poppy. Ha. Energy switch. Ha. You guys have no creativity. None. In before I Poppy to my Mewtwo EX. Thornton. Poppy does what I think it does, right? It moves 2 energy. I'm pretty sure. This with Moonlit Hill? Oh, yeah. Aren't we getting Moonlit Hill? What does that card do? Allows you to heal. Temporal Forces. Wow, that's kind of cool looking. Wow. Stinky Iron Thorns. Stinky Fluttermane. Stinky cards. Big long neck giraffe man. I like him a lot. The art on those cards is nice, but they are not very good. I like the Iron Thorns. Be nice to Iron Thorns. He's nice. I missed the A-Spec. Oh, yeah, there's an A-Spec reveal, too. Yeah, I'll get to that. Listen, we're not there yet. Yeah. New cape. New A-Spec just dropped. The Hero's Cape. Pokemon just couldn't resist. They couldn't resist the 400 HP Pokemon, folks. They just couldn't resist it. 400 HP Charizard EX. Why, oh why? Yeah. It's funny. I think the catcher card seems like the best one so far still, but this is interesting. I mean, it could certainly see play in like stall decks and stuff like that. It could. Could also, you know, be used in decks that just want to have a 400 hit point guy. Expanded remains neglected. They just need to do. The Pokemon Company needs to just do to Expanded what they did to fairies. All right. Just take them out back behind the barn. Okay. Fairies too soon into the wood chipper expanded. They just need to give Expanded the wood chipper, bro. Stop mentioning it like you're gonna do something. Ain't nothing happening to Expanded. Give it the Rotate Expanded to one rotation back from Standard. Why would I want to play more Mew VMAX? I'm good, bro. I'm good. So yeah, this is like the other attacker that that you could play in Guardy. I mean, you could. It's probably not great, but you could. Other than that, you're probably playing like little guys. Little teeny tiny guys. Path to the Peak. Oh, baby. That's a good card. It's a good card right there. Before Path to the Peak, there was Power Plant. Power Plant was also a good card. Power Plant, during the Sun and Moon era, made it so that Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX had no abilities. Path to the Peak, a strict upgrade. And Power Plant was good. Power Plant was nuts. Path to the Peak, even better. I mean, this card, we have not had a true like ability locking deck since Garbodor in standard format. I mean, since Breakpoint, right? So since 2016, I don't think that we've had a true ability locker on. I mean, there's Galarian Wheezing, kind of like a soft lock, right? Because it has to be in the active spot. And then everything else is just such a soft lock, right? Was Garbodor toxic? No, it was awesome. No, everything else was like a soft lock. I'm talking about a true lock, bro. Pushing something out of the active position so easy. Every deck plays Boss's Orders, and plenty of them. No, it wasn't toxic. I, for one, think that they should reprint Garbodor and stop being cowards. They should reprint this card. They should give us a board state ability lock. Not Tinglu. Tinglu is terrible. Well, they keep reprint. The thing is, I don't think that they're ever going to give us another Garbodor, or at least not anytime soon, because they keep giving us these incredibly weak ability lockers, right? They just keep giving us stuff like look at this is like their design philosophy when it comes to ability lock these days. They're like, how about Fluttermane? As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities. That is like wet noodle ability lock. That's not even ability lock. That doesn't even count. It's terrible. It only locks the active Pokemon's abilities. Just retreat it. That. You also remember how bad these are the kinds of cards they print now, like Empoleon V. Remember how bad this card was? Now the Pokemon company's like, let's print some ability lock. I think I'll do Empoleon V. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, it's condition 1. Your opponent's basic Pokemon in play, it's condition 2. Have no abilities, except for Pokemon with a rule box, that's condition 3. That is 3 conditions, bro. 3! 3 conditions. It's terrible. Absolutely miserable. And that's like the design philosophy of ability lock these days. And it's on a two prizer. Thank you, Dragons Danglers, the sub in the 13 months. And now we got like Klefki. Klefki is just spineless Wobbuffet. All right, they used to do this better. Mischievous Lock, as long as this Pokemon's in the active spot. Basic Pokemon have no abilities. But you know what's better than that? Wobbuffet. Bide Barricade, bro. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each Pokemon in play has no abilities except for Psychic Pokemon. Wob was just way better. Not being able to stop evolved Pokemon's abilities. Dude, lots of evolved Pokemon got abilities, like Charizard. What the heck is the point of a Klefki if it doesn't stop Charizard? Nothing. That's not even ability lock, bro. I won't even call it ability lock. If it only stops basic Pokemon's abilities, that's not even ability lock. Don't even talk to me about that, okay? Because evolved Pokemon, those are the problematic ones. Those are the ones you want to stop. Like, I need something that makes it so that when my opponent evolves Charmeleon into Charizard, nothing happens. Nothing. And that's what Path to the Peak did. So that's what I'm saying is Path to the Peak is the only card in the modern history of the game that actually provided some satiable ability lock. Now, it's pretty easy to counter because all you had to do is put a stadium into play or play a vacuum. but it was a substantial ability lock. It was. And now it seems like they pretty much, the Pokemon-based ability locks have all been weak. I mean, lately. Like I said, we got Klefki is just totally weak. We've got Klefki is seeing zero play, which I thought Klefki seemed good enough to at least stop like Lost Box decks and things like that. The card's just seeing zero play. Without Escape Rope, though, without Escape Rope, and Escape Rope is rotating, without Escape Rope, maybe cards like Klefki get a little bit better, right? Yeah, Spiritomb only stops basic Pokemon V. I mean, still, it's, you know, pretty much just there to stop the Luminian and Genesect V. It's too conditional. Everything's too conditional. You had Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing is like the best ability locker that's been printed in recent history in 2021, neutralizing gas. But again, I mean, and it was full ability lock, but it had to be in the active spot. And guess what? Pretty much every deck was playing like 3 to 4 copies of Boss's Orders. So like all your opponent had to do was play Boss's Orders, and then the ability lock was completely broken, which is the problem with Galarian. 2020, it was printed in 2020, sure. That was the problem with Galarian Weezing, though, is that it was so easy to just push around the Galarian Weezing. Also, it's only got 130 hit points, so knocking it out was also pretty easy. But that's why we need to bring back my goat, Garbodor. Garbodor only had one condition, and the condition is that it has a tool card attached to it. But once you fulfill that condition, pure, unadulterated ability lock. That's right. All abilities turned off. I'll never know peace until this card is reprinted. Man. So good. So good, bro. You should be able to turn off your opponent's abilities. Thank you, Pokemon Geek Walker, for that Prime sub. Appreciate it. Reprint Garb, Floatstone, and Blower all in the same new set. And then we can finally get our golden Floatstone. Ah. They'll never reprint Floatstone. They'll never do it. So Path to the Peak, I mean, and really Path to the Peak has been the only card that's kind of fulfilling that ability lock role in the past year or two in the Pokemon TCG. And fulfill that role it has. I mean, there are definitely decks that we just had. Giratina, right? Lost Zone Giratina won the Portland Regional Championship. I played 4 Path in my World Championship deck this year. You know, Path Miraidon was seeing a lot of play. Path Tina has seen a lot of success in the last year. And you could pretty much Path and Mew VMAX won the World Championships. Path is a game-winning card. 100%. And I think is certainly one of the strongest cards that will be rotating out of standard format. It's one of those forever cards, right? It's not, unlike Power Plant that was, you know, kind of came before it. Unlike Power Plant, which only affected Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX, Pokemon has started future-proofing their cards. You know, now you've got all Pokemon with a rule box, and Power, you know, Path to the Peak is just one of the strongest stadiums ever printed. It is. 100%. And without Path to the Peak, yeah, ability decks are going to be miserable to deal with. Imagine you can't stop Pidgeot. Imagine just like a Pidgeot's in play and you can't stop it. Isn't that just like annoying? You can't. You cannot. Path won Worlds in 2022 and 2023. Yeah, your opponent gets Pidgeot out, cannot stop it. They are getting the game-winning card no matter what. So, yeah, that's... Path is certainly going to be missed. It's going to be, it's definitely one of the top cards that is rotating out of standard format this year. I mean, yes, I said one of the strongest stadiums ever printed. The strongest stadium ever printed is probably Broken Time Space. That, I don't know, Chaotic Swell is kind of nuts. But yeah, Broken Time Space is, yeah, it's Broken Time Space. But Chaotic Swell. Parallel. Swell and Parallel. I'm a big Parallel truther. I am. I think Parallel is insane. You guys don't even know. Man, some of y'all don't even know. Some of y'all don't even know how nuts this card is, dude. Parallel City. Jesse, I think if Ting Lu stopped Pokemon EX's abilities, it would still not be good. That's how bad I think Ting Lu is. We're losing both Urshis and Umbreon VMAX. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, and Umbreon VMAX. Wow. Yeah. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX certainly, I think, is a contender for a top 10 card. Yeah. I mean, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX was one of the most powerful cards from the beginning. Even before regional championships came back, Azul was able to defeat trainer Chip Ritchie. You guys remember that at the Full Grip Games? It was like a standard 5K. And Chip was playing Shadow Rider Calrex, right? It was crazy. Urshifu, Azul was able to beat Chip with Urshifu. Chip playing Shadow Rider Calrex VMAX. I think Urshifu also won player. Did Azul win Players Cup 3 with Urshifu as well? Yeah. And yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah, Players Cup 3. Oh, Alex Szymanski. Was it Players Cup 2 and Players Cup 3 were both won by Urshifu? And it was like Azul and Alex Szymanski won both of those, I think. Yeah, I think that's it, right? So, like, at the very... There was a Players Cup 4? God, I have completely blocked out all of those years from my memory. Players Cup 2 was Lesage's Pikarom. All right, yeah, I have completely blocked out all of this from my memory for sure. Yeah, Yep. My brain goes from 2019 to 2022. Just... Yep. Ain't no 2020, 2021, none of those years. Didn't I announce Players Cup 4? Yeah, I think so. One of those. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I don't remember which one, though. It was either 3 or 4. I do not recall. I don't know. My favorite deck during this time, I don't know if it was this time. I think my favorite deck during Players Cup 2, man, I used to like Lucario Melmetal, man. But that's why I hated Senti Scorch players, dude. Senti Scorch players, so annoying. I just wanted to play Lucario Melmetal, man. I just wanted to play Lucario Melmetal, but then there's the Senti Scorch players. Lucario Melmetal, fun deck, took skill to play, actually produced interesting games. Senti Scorch, no skill to pilot, was just a run and gun deck. You load a bunch of energy on Senti Scorch and go brrr. That's it. But yeah, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX definitely withstood the test of time. Rapid Strike Urshifu was very, very powerful at the beginning and is still powerful now. It's still a top 10 deck right now. So I think Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX certainly, I mean, it's one of the best spread attackers ever printed. You're talking about 120 damage to 2 Pokemon. I mean, just absolutely insane. 150 damage for 1 energy. Just the stats on this card are just completely broken. Just completely broken, right? This was the only card that could really put an end to Pikaram's dominance as well. But even then, Pikaram still had Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX. But this was the card that finally put Pikaram, like, in check. But Pikaram was kind of like, was dominant until Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX came out. There was also a period of time, absolutely. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX was out, and there was no bench barrier. Yeah. Holy. Yeah. Yeah, there was. Yup. No bench barrier. Okay. Yeah, there's no Mew from Unbroken Bonds after rotation. Yeah. And then it took them a couple sets, but they finally decided, you know what? Maybe we'll print Manaphy. And then Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. At first, it seemed like Single Strike Urshifu VMAX was just a total failure, but this card really came into its own eventually. Being able to just one-hit KO opposing Pokemon VMAX and pretty much withstand being one-hit KO'd in return was pretty gnarly. Single Strike Urshifu VMAX did see success as its own deck with the Houndoom engine at a point. And then later saw play with Lugia V-Star, right? Since Lugia V-Star could accelerate Single Strike energy onto the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX and then, you know, get it up and rolling to one-hit KO. Even things like Duraludon VMAX. So, Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, kind of that big one-hit KO dude. It wasn't nearly as versatile as a deck like Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, but Single Strike Urshifu VMAX definitely saw success and play. Sylveon VMAX was not great. I mean, but it did see a little bit of a... It saw like a little bit of play in like the middle of its lifespan. You had, you know, Sylveon toolbox decks, which used Rapid Strike energy and then had a bunch of different types of Pokemon, and you could max Harmony for a lot. And the cool thing about Sylveon is that you could one-hit KO Urshifu VMAXs with Sylveon. That was cool. Psychic type, you know, you could get that going pretty quick. So that was fun. Yeah, Rainbow Road 2.0. And of course, with all the Rapid Strike stuff, you're losing the Houndoom. The Houndoom was the backbone to the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX deck. You're losing the Octillery, which is the backbone to the Rapid Strike deck. You're losing all that. It's all going. Galarian Moltres V, Zapdos V, and Articuno V. Articuno V, you were the worst of the three. Sad. Yep, I know JW kind of likes that card once, maybe. But like Galarian Zapdos saw some play when Arceus first came out. Because it can knock out Arceus pretty easily. If you got a lot of Pokemon V in play, you can punish your opponent for doing that, which is sweet. And then Galarian Moltres V did see a healthy amount of play throughout the years. I mean, it sees play even now in Roaring Moon decks. Any deck that just plays Darkness Energy, you might just throw a Galarian Moltres V in there. It's Dire Flame Wings ability, just charging an extra darkness energy into play every turn and just building up an attack for itself without any investment other than that is just really solid. So yeah, Galarian Moltres V, definitely a card that had its fair share of impact All of the gloves, pretty much terribly designed cards. Gotta say, these things just kind of stink. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, listen. If you have like a healthy metagame, then you're probably gonna have a relatively wide-ish, a relatively wide variety of potential decks to play, which means that you probably won't want to like waste any deck space on like particularly teching for one particular deck with the gloves. I mean, some of the gloves, like Justified gloves, are seeing played right now, just to kind of hit numbers against Charizard. Cleansing gloves are seeing a little play to help hit those numbers versus Guardy. I mean, it's okay. It's just like, did we need a glove of every different type? I guess it might be better card design than like a card like Muscle Band, which is kind of just too strong. So I think back when they were first releasing, I think I do kind of like them more, I guess, than a card like Muscle Band. Maybe they are well-designed cards. They just didn't end up being very good, right? Because they're too situational. So I think that's kind of the thing, is they're just kind of too situational. So like, even though they're like well-designed cards, but they're balanced cards, but too balanced almost, because they didn't see any play really. Only very small amount of play. I don't know. They're okay. Are they going to be missed? Absolutely not. I think nobody's going to blink when those cards rotate. It's what I'm trying to say. Drudagon, you're rotating, but you never saw play in Standard. You are a GLC king. I'll see you on the other side, Drudagon. You are a GLC king. Mimikyu V is a cool card if your name is Sander Wachik. Jolteon VMAX. Wow, what a disappointment all the other Vaporeon VMAX. This card seemed cool. It read cool. It ended up ultimately not being cool. Not cool at all. Jolteon VMAX, though. This was low-key the best card out of Evolving Skies, right? Am I tripping? I'm pretty sure it was. Jolteon VMAX. I think when this card came out, I mean, this was like a top deck. This was a top deck out of Evolving Skies, like right away. Raihan ended up seeing more play long-term, yes, but like, you got to keep in mind, during the Sword and Shield block, let me take you back to when Evolving Skies was released, right? During the Sword and Shield block, like I said, every deck that came out was just better than the next. And in the period of time between Evolving Skies and Fusion Strike, I mean, Jolteon VMAX was a dominant deck. But then when Mew VMAX came out, Jolteon just got thrashed by Mew. That was like Jolteon's kryptonite. And that's just how every single set was. Umbreon VMAX did not see instant play. What deck was Umbreon VMAX seeing play in? Almost none. Umbreon VMAX was incredibly mid the entire time. Eternatus VMAX, like maybe. Eternatus VMAX's peak was right before this rotation, though. Arc Umbreon. Yes. No, that was like later, though, because Arceus isn't out yet. I'm talking about Evolving Skies. Arceus isn't out yet. When Umbreon first came out, and I'm talking like during this time when Evolving Skies came out, Umbreon didn't have an immediate impact. Jolteon did. That's what I'm saying. You guys are talking about decks that came out months later. Yeah, that's months later. I'm talking about right now, when Evolving Skies landed, Jolteon VMAX was a top deck. Months later, Umbreon became useful. Yeah. When Mew VMAX came out, because it won and KO'd Mew VMAX. That's later, right? That's later. Umbreon became stronger when Mew VMAX came out, right? But it wasn't really impactful at first. Jolteon was. Jolteon got weaker. Umbreon got stronger as time went on. But Jolteon was everywhere. Jolteon Inteleon, dude. Yeah, this deck just picked apart the Inteleon engine. 100%. That was the whole point. Big dog. Me putting my Jolteon VMAX into play. But yeah, Jolteon VMAX is tenure as a top deck was extremely short-lived and fell off pretty hard. Flareon VMAX, just an absolutely terrible card. You will not be missed. Gengar VMAX was a card that got better as, you know, when Mew VMAX came out, but it was still inconsistent. Gengar VMAX, the single strike engine was just not really... Do you guys remember what it was like to play a single strike deck before Bibarel came out? It was terrible. The single strike engine pretty much did not work. When Bibarel came out, it barely started to work. But it was still bad. Gengar VMAX won the first regional back after COVID with Arceus, though. We haven't gotten there yet. Arceus isn't rotating. These are all old. And yes, Gengar won alongside Arceus. But Arceus was the enabler. Arceus turns bad cards good. That's what Arceus did. Arceus and Bibarel could make anything work. But yes, those original tournaments, you know, those original decks, the original single strike decks, like those were piles. And Gengar was kind of seen as like the check and counter to Mew VMAX, and it just never lived up to it. I swear, dude, the amount of times that I lost to Mew VMAX as a Gengar deck is despicable. You should never lose. But you could definitely lose. And anybody who's played enough Gengar could tell you that Gengar would lose to Mew VMAX sometimes. Disgraceful. God, remember Boltund V? Hoopa V was supposed to help counter Mew VMAX, and it didn't do that. Mew VMAX was utterly broken. Genesect V, utterly broken. Power Tablets, obviously part of that broken Mew VMAX deck. Cross Switcher. Cross Switcher is, you know, an interesting card that is not going to be in standard anymore. But who really cares about Cross Switcher when we're getting the new Gust card? Where is it? Where's the Gust card? A-Spec. Oh, yeah. Prime Catcher. Who cares about dumb old stupid cross switcher when we've got this card? Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Nobody cares. That card is just way better. So I don't think anybody's really going to miss cross switcher. Cross switcher is just a huge tax on your deck space. A huge tax on it. I'm not personally going to miss that card at all. Gradient VMAX, everybody's favorite meme card. No longer. And a bunch of bulk cards that are going to rotate into obscurity. And if they don't lead a life in Gym Leader Challenge, they will probably lead a life nowhere. Dragonite V was an interesting card. Saw a lot of play in Lost Box decks. So that option will no longer be there for Lost Box decks. Yes, and if you find that you have lots of bulk lying around your apartment, your house, your parents' house, wherever you are, and you'd like to turn that bulk, that rotating bulk, that useless rotating bulk that's just collecting dust and taking up space, if you'd like to turn that into cash or store credit, you can send that bulk to Full Grip Games. That's right, fullgripgames.com. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Always buying bulk and single. Bulk and singles. Paying cash or store credit on all your useless Pokemon cards. That's right. Intellion VMAX Crabominable V is going to go. It's a card the Snorlax stall decks are playing, but you could just play Chi Yu, which also has a mill attack. Cinderace VMAX, Chandelure VMAX. Man, there sure are a lot of bad Pokemon cards. The V-Unions. Celebrations Mew is big. I mean, that card sees quite a bit of play. See play in Charizard decks, see play in Gardevoir decks that like to find rare candies. If you like to find rare candy, might want Mew to help you out. Want to find Battle VIP Pass? Mew can help you out with that too. Flying Pikachu VMAX. I mean, card did win a World Championships and a National Championships. Did I ever play Houndoom EX? I've played against Houndoom EX, but I never played Houndoom EX myself. Mewtwo v Union. Is Mewtwo v Union the only? It's got to be the only regional winning v Union. It's got to be the best one by far. The best v Union ever. How'd I skip Kyogre? Man, fine. Kyogre. Good riddance, bro. Talk about annoying strategies. My opponent just playing solitaire over there, trying to get to the bottom of their deck so that they can do 250 damage to two of my bench Pokemon. Get out of here with that, bro. Good riddance. Good riddance. Good riddance. Good riddance. Yeah, Mewtwo v Union was the only really successful v Union Pokemon. Stormy Mountains. Nobody really plays that, but it is going. Crystal Cave, Booshake. Yep. I mean, Storm Mountains is like a fine card, but even Miraidon decks don't play it. Stall plays Mountains. That's true. To go get the Rotom V. Zinnia's Resolve, another draw card that's going. Gyarados VMAX. Yo, Gary made top 8 of a regional championship this year. Freaking Gary, dude. Made the finals. Zinnia's Resolve is a decent draw card, but we'll surely get more decent draw cards. Right? I'm not worried about decent draw cards rotating, because decent draw cards are a dime a dozen. Well, you always get more. In fact, I don't really care about rotation. I mean, rotation, like, yeah, I care about rotation in that I love it. I look forward to rotation. Some people dread rotation. I look forward to it because I think mixing things up is fun. That's part of what makes things fun. Oh, Metacham V, that's right. I love rotation. Because I love new strategies, new format, new cards. Change is great. In fact, if the trading card game never changes, then it gets boring. Yoga Loop? Okay. Taking an extra turn, 2 damage counters. Good riddance to this card. You will not be missed, bro. Get out of here. Rapid Strike decks. Yeah, Rapid Strike decks. Good riddance. I'm not going to miss Metacham. Who here enjoyed it when their opponent got to take 2 turns right in front of their face and knock out all their Pokemon? I did not, okay? That was, you know what? That was not cool. You know what? I actually enjoy getting to take my turn and play the game. Yeah, looping was cringe. Good riddance to the loop. Yeah, I'll go second and third. Yeah. I'm good. I got to loop some people. I played Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX at, Texas? San Antonio? And looping people, I felt dirty every time, dude. I was like, you're not even playing. Nah, I'm good on looping. Leafeon V was kind of interesting for a little while. Get to accelerate an extra grass energy into play. Cool. Dream Ball. Elemental Badge. Yeah, this Galarian Moltres actually did see, quite a bit of play early on in its life cycle. Saw play in some Arceus decks, saw play in some Lost Box decks. Being able to instantly one-hit KO a Mew VMAX while only giving up a single prize in return after a certain point in the game had been reached. I mean, that's just very, very strong effects. It's right, I skipped over Treasure Energy. Terrible card. Regidrago, not a good card. I mean, okay, so some play in some Regigigas deck lists. Don't talk to me about Cherim Regidrago. No. So Long Drampa, You were never played in Standard, but you live forever as a Gym Leader Challenge king. See you on the other side, Drampa. Phantom Transformation Zoroark. You know what? I top 8'd a League Cup with this year. So long, Zoroark. And thanks for the 20 championship points. Yeah. Just never really materialized into a serious deck. 25. Yeah. Yeah, that card, it never really materialized. It had so much, you know, I mean, you read it and you're like, wow, it could be anything. And then it just... always a little bit too inconsistent, always a little bit too frail of a strategy, always a little bit too easy to pick apart, always a little bit too easy to counter. Umbreon VMAX did end up becoming a very strong card eventually. I mean, it saw play in single strike Urshifu VMAX decks, which were popular for a little while. It saw play to help counter Mew VMAX. I mean, this card got played in Alex Szymanski's Arceus Umbreon winning deck from EUIC last year. I think that all in all, Umbreon VMAX didn't quite live up to my expectations for the card, but it did accomplish stuff. Reading this card, I'm like, you know, that ability is incredibly strong, and I kind of thought it was going to be stronger than it was. But it turns out having a 3-prize liability on your bench is something only some decks can do. Espeon VMAX saw a very small amount of play to help protect against the amazing Yveltal. Yeah, funny. Dracozolt VMAX, everybody's favorite meme lightning dragon guy. Glaceon VMAX, absolutely terrible Pokemon card. Sorry, Glaceon. Ludicolo did get second place at a regional championships alongside Suicune V. And Suicune V is also rotating. Yeah, you guys remember this? All right, the very first regional championship back post-COVID. Suicune Ludicolo had its short stint in the limelight. You could get energy into play real quick with Melanie, and then Enthusiastic Dance. You could swing for over 300 damage. Oh, Finn won. Did he win? Oh, I thought it was second place to... I'm mixing up two different... I'm mixing up two different regional championships in my mind. No, he got second, right? At Salt Lake. It was Finn got second at Salt Lake to Arceus Gengar, right? Am I mixing up two regionals in my mind? Suicune lost to Gengar in the finals of that first one back. Yeah, that's what I'm in Salt Lake, right? Yeah. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But like I said, I blocked out all those years. Gyarados VMAX, second place Gyarados VMAX. Expanded King, Volcarona V. That's right, Volcarona. Live on in that format nobody plays. The format nobody plays, and there's no way to play it. The thing is, people would play expanded format even if they just if they just released Expanded to be played on Pokemon TCG Live, people would just play it because they desperately want an alternate way to play the Pokemon TCG. But right now on TCG Live, there is no alternate way to play. So you're just stuck. You're just stuck playing Standard. They could make any alternate format and people would play, even if it is as, kind of underwhelming as Expanded right now. Leafeon VMAX saw a little bit of play with Inteleon. Fog Crystal. I mean, Fog Crystal could be in contention. It is a very strong card. Searching out Psychic Basics and Psychic Energy. I mean, it's incredible. The only thing that kind of holds Fog Crystal back from being like a top card is that it is limited to just a single type. But for that single type, it's super good. Yeah. I mean, Fog Crystal's insane for Psychic decks, but only good for Psychic decks. Echoing Horn's very good for Lost Box decks, decks that spread damage counters, like Rapid Strike decks. Bringing a basic Pokemon back from the discard pile, putting it on your opponent's bench. Very strong. Allow you to knock out little Pokemon back-to-back turns, like Ralts, stuff like that. Peony really had a late life resurgence in the Miraidon deck. How kind of funny is that? Peony didn't really... Yeah, Mew played a little Peony, but even then stopped playing it relatively quickly. But in Miraidon, I would have never thought that Miraidon was going to be the deck that ended up playing for Peony. I mean, and not all lists, but some lists. Mew EX really enabling that, and just the power of Electric Generator saying, like, I need to forcibly go find 2 Electric Generator right now to get the turn 1 attack. Yeah, so Peony kind of had a quick little life there here at the end with Miraidon. Avery is another very strong card, limiting your opponent's bench. Oh, Avery. I do hope. I guess there are other ways to limit your opponent's bench. I was going to say, I do hope that... I like cards that limit the bench. I like cards that limit abilities. I like those cards. There is what's that? Glimora? Dustfield? Yeah, I'm sorry. Dustfield's not quite doing it for me. I don't know. If they'd reprint Floatstone, then maybe it would. Yeah, maybe if they'd give us Floatstone or something, but what am I going to do with Glimora? You think I'm going to attack with it? Man. Dang, Tornadus VMAX saw a little play for a minute. Rapidash V. It's a pretty card. Lucky Energy. Old Cemetery. What time's afternoon GLC coming tomorrow? About 2:33 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Tornadus VMAX. Guy had a little bit of a short lifespan. Saw a little bit of play. Cresselia saw a little bit of play. feel like we're approaching the end of the list. Is there anything else impactful here at the end? Yes, this Rapid Strike Malamar for a little while was the strongest single prize deck in Standard. Kind of came in and fizzled out relatively quickly. I know Joe Omnipoke was a fan of this deck and played it to some success at regional championships. Speaking of Joe Omnipoke, if you haven't already, shout out to Joe. He's been making some awesome Gym Leader Challenge videos. Look at my feed. Ravens. All right, Joe Let's see, Omnipoke. Yeah, Omnipoke's been making some awesome Gym Leader Challenge content lately. So if you're interested in Gym Leader Challenge at all and kind of want a good place to start, I mean, he's been doing a video just on each type, kind of a getting started video, which has been really awesome. So props to him for that. Yeah, that would be hype, Ben, for sure. Zarude, you were never played in Standard, but you live on in Gym Leader Challenge. Good night, Prince. Level Ball. I mean, Level Ball. Freaking Level Ball, dude. Man. Busted card. That card is just good. That is a good card. Power creep is a thing, but you know what? 90 hit point Pokemon still exists. $90 hit point Pokemon are still out there. And they still need searched. Level Ball was at its, I mean, to say Level Ball was really good with Shady Dealings and then fell off, I mean, I would say Level Ball is still very good. I mean, it's played in Gardevoir decks. Azul played it in his Charizard deck. It's still a very good card. It was utterly broken with Shady Dealings. That's I would say that, right? I'd say like now it's just a normal level of good. But with Shady Dealings, this card was bananas, right? Because obviously Level Ball just meant you get to go get whatever trainer card you want out of your deck and put it into your hand, right? So like, yeah, that was bananas. And then, right, I mean, during the VMAX era, you're right. During the VMAX era, like, the only evolution Pokemon that were being searched out were Drizziles and Sobbles, right? That's it. So, like, for a while, this card was just the Drizzile searcher. But then we instantly got Gardevoir with the release of Scarlet and Violet. You could get Chinchinos, true. Yeah. Scarlet and Violet, we got Gardevoir. And then now we're getting even more evolution Pokemon. And we're losing Level Ball kind of the same time. But Level Ball is a very strong search card. Being able to search out those stage 1s is a huge boost, especially in a format now where we don't have Evolution Incense anymore, right? And having the Ultra Ball for something like a Kirlia feels really bad because Ultra Ball for Kirlia, and then to use Refinement, you have to have how many cards in your hand you have to have that you want to get rid of. You have to have, you're getting rid of the Ultra Ball, you're discarding 2 other cards, and then you have to Refinement. You have to have 4. You are losing 4 cards out of that hand. You know? It's terrible. Level Ball, so much easier to play. Experience share, you know what? I am a longtime experience share hater, but I'm not going to lie, this card's been pretty good in Miraidon decks lately. It has to do with the general amount of vacuums that are being played, I guess, across the board. You know, if this card's not being countered, it can be decent. Is it not rotating? It's in Scarlet and Violet. Ah, okay. EXP share saved. That's just the Sword and Shield version. Whatever. EXP share might be the future of Miraidon, honestly. Without Flaffy, might need that. Cheryl was decent for a while, right? I mean, being able to heal off your gigantic Pokemon VMAX is just really good. But now it kind of feels outclassed by Turo. Being able to actually just like kind of completely pick up your Pokemon seems better in a lot of ways. But Cheryl, you know, specifically healing off your Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAXs, it's kind of what Cheryl did. Tyranitar V in those single strike Lugia decks, and that's pretty much where it lived. Single strike Lugia Town. Tool Jammer is an interesting card. Ended up being a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And it's kind of like a tool blocker that can have like impose its effect on multiple turns. And I think that I didn't really originally see it as that kind of card. I just saw it as like a tool removal card that doesn't actually remove the tool. So I just was like, this card's terrible. But the fact that Tool Jammer could block multiple tools from being effective, I think is kind of what made it you know, a really strong card in the long run. Energy Recycler, I mean, did end up seeing a lot of play with Kyogre, which is also leaving us. So I think that's fine. With Super Rod is just a more versatile card than Energy Recycler. Energy Recycler does allow for an explosive 5 energy to go back into the deck. But 3 with Super Rod is fine. And will kind of fulfill that role just fine. Escape Rope. Now, some people are like really mad that Escape Rope's rotating, or you're really like lost with what to do without Escape Rope. Dude, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. There's so many other Switch cards. You'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. There's like 1 million Switch cards. Yeah, and I bet we'll get more. If there's one thing for sure, there's never been just like no Switch cards. They just love printing cards that switch. I promise we're going to get more Switch cards. I promise. Yeah, maybe they're phasing out Escape Rope so they can bring back Warp Point. Yeah, I promise they'll bring this thing back. You know how long this effect has been in the Pokemon TCG? They might just, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. They might just phase it out for a year, and then they'll bring back Rope, and then everybody will be like, "Woo! Escape Rope! Oh, she's back!" Yeah, it'll be like that. I know. It'll be like, "Oh, it was so long without you, Rope. How did we ever live?" Exactly. That literally happened with Ultra Ball. I know. It's just what they do, all right? It's just what they do. And there's plenty of cards that switch right now. You've got Jet Energy. You've got Escape Rope. No, you don't have Escape Rope. You've got Jet Energy. You've got Switch. You've got Switch Cart. That's plenty. That's so many. You're greedy if you need more switches than that. Greedy. You cross switcher rotates. You've got Professor Turo. Just play Turo. Turo is a fine switch card. There are too many switch cards. It's fine. Format will be fine without all those dang switch cards. Listen, I do not need Iron. If there's one thing I do not need, it's an Iron Valiant donking my Pokemon. Okay, I just don't need that. I'm good. You know, if I start a Charmander, I shouldn't lose. If I start a Charmander going first, I should not just lose the game. Okay, to an Iron Valiant. It's just like I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need an Iron Valiant to go boop 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 boop. Yeah, that's cringe. You know what? Also, you know what else I don't need? I don't need, you know, my opponent's Comfy going flower selecting, flower selecting, flower selecting, flower selecting. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I don't care. We don't need them. Whatever. There's plenty of switch cards. You've got plenty of switch cards. Get over it. You were spoiled before. Colossal. Tapacoco VMAX. Victini VMAX. You were decent for like a month or two. And then you became terrible. All right. And that's it. Okay. So let's talk about this list. Let's get some. Let's start organizing. Let's start organizing. I think we don't have numbers next to these. These are just cards that I think probably belong on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I think Mew VMAX belongs as a top 3. I think number 1 might be VIP Pass. Yeah, and I can see Path here. Path to the peak. And so then we're like looking at really the top 3, I think. The top 3, I think, are Mew VMAX, Path to the Peak, and VIP Pass. And company includes all Genesects, power tablets, all that. Escape rope? I'm fine with that. Escape. All right. Mewtwo v Union. It might be easy to say, well, what do you think? I'm saying, yeah, I think Level Ball is a good card, bro. I think Clara, what do you guys think is like a, you know, might help to be like, what's 10? Like what card like barely makes the list? Flaffy definitely on there. Well, I think like the top 5 are all, or the top 4 or 5 are all like really easy to make, but then the bottom 5 are it's gonna fall off hard. I think Melanie is here. Like the drop off between Level Ball and Melanie is like Huge, right? I think Flaffy is going to make the list somewhere. I think Ursh is going to make the list. Yeah, Ursh is definitely going to make it. Ursh can go here. I don't think Yoga Loop is like that card. Put Yoga Loop and Kyogre? No. Not Yoga. Yoga Loop is not a top 10 card. You think Celebration's Mew over Melanie? I could see that. Kyogre won 2 regionals. All right, Kyogre won 2 regionals. Flaffy won a regionals and nationals, and a regionals and a nationals. There. So I'd say that Kyogre and Flaffy are probably similarly placed. Kyogre didn't win an IC. Azul didn't play it in his OCIC list. Yeah, see? I think Flaffy is in here for sure. Kyogre might be down here. Kroger. All right, now we've got the list is starting to take shape. We don't have Fog Crystal on here. We don't have Raihan on here. We don't have Clara on here. Clara, I think, is big. We don't have Mewtwo V Union. You okay with Mewtwo V Union not being on here? How about Flying Pika VMAX? Shining Arcana. Duraludon VMAX. Okay. Yeah, I could see Flying Pikachu VMAX. But then Melanie is probably above that. And then is Flaffy number 10. Flying Pikachu VMAX won Worlds. True. Don't think Melanie's a top 10 card. I tried to say that Melanie was not as good as Raihan, and I had haters, bro. Giving Flaffy too much credit. Haters. Haters, bro. I think Clara deserves to be on here. Maybe, though. Maybe not. What's better, Clara or Raihan? Rope is not just a switch, it's also a push. I don't think Mewtwo V Union's making this list realistically. Fog Crystal could. Shining Arcana could. Raihan could. Clara could. Duraludon VMAX. Get this filth out of my list. Flying Pikachu VMAX already has. Okay. And Kyogre could make the list. Okay. Do you think Mew VMAX deserves to be over VIP Pass? Okay. I think it's between Mew and VIP Pass for the #1 spot. But actually, I think VIP Pass might just be the #1 spot. Like I could imagine. I don't know. Can you imagine at this point a standard format where VIP Pass is not being played? Ugh. I hate the design of that card, but it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine the card not being played. But I can imagine a format where Mew VMAX is not very good still. I mean, it's different because you're not just talking about the power of cards. You're talking about like an archetype, Mew VMAX, you know, and an item card, right? I think I like VIP Pass at the top of the list, and that seems to be what people are voting for in the chat right now as well. Take a look. Okay. And then Path to the Peak seems like a... I feel like I can lock this in. Like, those feel locked in. I don't know that... I think we can probably put, like, of all the cards, Rope is probably just that fourth card. That's what I'm thinking. I think four also gets locked. Now, I'll hear some arguments. Does anybody think that you can formulate an argument as to any card that belongs above Rope on this list? What if Rope is reprinted in Temporal Forces? Shh. Really mess up my list. Level Ball is not better than Rope. It's just not. It's not nearly as... It's just not nearly as powerful. Okay, so 5. Is 5 Level Ball or Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX? What do we think for the 5 spots? I think I'm good locking in those 4. Urshifu is pretty good. It feels like we can operate without Level Ball totally fine, but it feels like Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX such an impactful card. And you know what? Like, Level Ball can be easily replicated. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX cannot. How do we feel about that? Because Level Ball, I mean, we already know that Poffin's coming out next. Shining Arcana? Okay. Do you really think that Shining Arcana Gardevoir had more impact over its lifespan than Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX? Do you really think that? Yeah, absolutely not, right? Shining Arcana Gardevoir hasn't won an IC. Has it? No, it's won regionals. They literally had to print a Manaphy because of... Arcana is definitely recency bias, because we got to keep in mind that card was nothing until Gardevoir EX came out. That card was literally nothing until Gardevoir EX came out. So we're kind of just, it's different than like Mew VMAX and company. This entire deck is rotating. Gardevoir EX as a deck is not rotating. And I think you'll see that Gardevoir EX will still continue to be a fine deck without Shining Arcana. Right? So that's why like Shining Arcana Gardevoir is like very kind of soft on the list. It's not... Yeah, Mew VMAX was impactful the entire time it was legal, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, Shining Arcana is probably worse than... Shining Arcana is just like a single tool. Like, Fog Crystal is probably better than Shining Arcana. I'm willing to say Fog Crystal is definitely better than Shining Arcana. So let's just get Shining Arcana out of the question. We're going to get this card out of the conversation. Shining Arcana out of the conversation. Do you think we can get it out of the conversation? I think we could get it out of the conversation. We could. These are the cards that are on the conversation. We could put Avery in the conversation, sure. You want to put Avery in the conversation? I'll put Avery in the conversation. These cards in the conversation. Okay, there we go. I think Shining Arcana can be removed from the conversation. Because I think Kyogre is better, and I think Fog Crystal is better, and I think Clara is better. So I think Shining Arcana out of the conversation. We're talking about the top 10 here, all right? This is like the most impactful cards. The most notable cards. Not the cards you're going to miss the most. Level Ball. Is there anything... Oh, I've got Clara twice. I'm tripping. All right. Is there anything that outshines Level Ball at number 6? It's like Fog Crystal. This is the other card I'd consider there. I don't think Level Ball can be lower than 6. I agree with that. It's not even played right now. It's just simply not true. Here you go. 4. One. That's just in the most recent top 8. Still it is 1. Listen, that Guardy deck, or that Charizard deck is greedy, bro. That Charizard deck is greedy. It's still got a Level Ball in it, because Level Ball's good. No, I'm not including Inteleon here. Inteleon is more recently has been good, but like historically, Inteleon was just like the weaker of the two. Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX was like its own card, was its own deck, and carries. Inteleon has been recent, only decent recently. Nah, Level Ball was played. Are you forgetting about the entire? Azul said he wished he had 2 Level Balls. That's because it's broken. You're forgetting about the entire Inteleon engine. Quick shooting Inteleon. Like, you're forgetting about the entire Shady Dealings engine. Level Ball thrived during that time. Level Ball for Drizzle Shady Dealings. That was like the play, right? For years. And now it still sees play. I mean, that's just, Level Ball could be 5, honestly. But I'll put it at 6, but it could be 5. Oh, yeah. Well, we're talking about and that's why, like, some recency bias will come in because obviously we've been living for the last year, and that's fresh in our minds. But, like, we're taking a look at the entire picture of these cards' legality, which some of it extends to, like, the pre-regional COVID era. So, for a lot of us, there weren't even huge tournaments during that time or anything like that. So. Clara was relied on in Lost Box decks before Super Rod came out and was like all it had for a little while. All right, so we locked in Level Ball. Cool. VIP Pass, Mew VMAX, Path to the Peak, Escape Rope, Rapid Strikers for Level Ball. I like that. I'm locked. Right now, we've got Celebrations, Mew, Clara, Flying Pikachu, Melanie. In the conversation, we've got Avery, Kyogre, Fog Crystal, Raihan. Take a look down, see if there's anything else we feel like should be in the conversation. There's Flying Pikachu VMAX. I don't think so. Nah, I think this is it. Yoga Loop? Nah, I'm chilling on Yoga Loop. Like Celebrations Mew is certainly a very, very good card. It has seen, I mean, it's been very good in Gardevoir. Saw play in Charizard decks. It was its own turbo engine for a little while. It's even seeing some play in Roaring Moon decks, right? I've seen some Roaring Moon lists playing the Mew. I think the Mew is like a very fine, like 7 or 8. Kyogre? All right. Do we think Kyogre... Well, all right. Melanie is even still seeing play now, right? I think Melanie could be 7. I wouldn't hate Melanie at 7. Let's see. Can you look Dex? Dex cards. Look at Dex. Is it possible to look up like how many Melanies got played in tournament decks? I don't know. Melanie, I thought Raihan was better than Melanie, but then chat kind of proved me wrong on that, and I'm willing to admit that. Yeah, chat proved me wrong. More decks played Melanie than Raihan. I use Raihan more personally because I play a lot of GLC, but Melanie was a bigger card. I think Melanie can go right there. If Shining Arcana isn't in the conversation, Kyogre shouldn't be either. I think I agree with that. I am not a big Kyogre truther for this list. I think Kyogre was just one way to play Lost Box, and Lost Box was an incredibly broken deck. But I think as far as like the best cards in Lost Box, Kyogre's not the best card in the Lost Box deck. Not even close, right? So I think that's my biggest argument. If Kyogre and Lost Box will continue to be just fine without it, right? Like Dragonite V was better in Lost Box than Kyogre. Yeah, get this thing out of here. Yeah, Dragonite V was better. And we're not even talking about Dragonite. Now, if we were talking about Sableye, or if we're talking about Comfey, or if we're talking about Cramorant, maybe. I think, listen, Flaffy is in the conversation for me, but the haters maybe take it off. All right. Listen, I'll put Flaffy back in the conversation, all right? Okay. So I think Melanie can be locked there at 7. I like that, right? And then we've got 8, 9, 10. There's no honorable mentions because not making the list is dishonorable. All right? If you didn't make the list, you failed. There's no honor in that. All right. Melanie. All right, so let's talk about what Melanie did. Melanie was played with Palkia V-Star. Melanie was played with Suicune V. I mean, just regional championship, international finalist decks all over the place. Melanie is still played with Urshifu VMAX now. It was played with Arceus decks during that whole swath of time that Arceus was like, yeah, it was played in the Vikavolt V decks. Yeah, it was played in like everything. It was played in Ice Rider. Yeah, Ice Rider played it. Yeah. Suicune, Palkia, all that stuff. Yeah, also, I mean, just top 4 to regional championship with Joey Nawal. Yeah. Right? Like, sheesh, right here. Bang. This car, it's just like, Melanie is just low-key everywhere. It just is. It's just low key everywhere. That card's nuts. You could make the argument, all right, I'll let you guys hash it out. Poll. Which was more impactful? Melanie or Level Ball? All right. Melanie or Level Ball for the 6 spots. I think Melanie is a hard lock at least 7, but could go 6. Level Ball, I mean, enabled so many different kinds of decks, shady dealings, all of that. So it was incredibly powerful for searching out basic Pokemon, Sobbles, Drizziles. Now finds Kirlias, Ralts. Yeah. Still played in Charizard decks. Used to Level Ball shady dealings to go get Melanie. All right, I think that kind of seals it for me, huh? Radiant Greninja. Listen, if Radiant Greninja was rotating, it would be on the list, all right? And it would probably be a top 3. But Radiant Greninja is not rotating. It would certainly be up there. Yeah, that card is just bananas broken. Yeah, Greninja would outplace Mew VMAX, I think, because of just the sheer number of decks it was played in. Okay, looks like people are voting. They want to keep Level Ball over Melanie. I agree with that myself. I think that's a good decision. All right, so we got Mew, we got Clara, we got Flying Pikachu VMAX. Flying Pikachu VMAX feels like a real toss-in. Like, that card does not need to be there. That card could just be in the conversation. Fog Crystal's pretty good card. Raihan, Avery, Flaffy, Flying Pikachu. What do we think? Flying Pika did win Worlds and in Internationals. That is the argument for Flying Pikachu VMAX. I even played Flying Pikachu VMAX in my Mew VMAX deck. Yeah, like Flying Pikachu was that good. It's only during that one block. Over the course of the years, it hasn't seen tons of play. Fog. I could see Fog here. Fog Crystal, I mean, Fog Crystal was the backbone of the... And if there was a World Championships, I mean, who knows? If there were regional championships and stuff when Shadow Rider first came out, like Fog Crystal would have been in those decks. Dragapult? Oh, I forgot about Dragapult. All right. Send Fog Crystal. Fog Crystal to the moon. Dragapult VMAX, that's changing things for me. I completely forgot about Dragapult VMAX. Wait, was Fog Crystal out then? I guess so. Yeah. No, Fog Crystal came out after that. Fog came later. They did coexist for a little while. All right. I think Celebrations Mew, I like at 8. All right. Does anybody got any arguments to present for Fall Crystal was played in that Rapid Strike Malamar deck? That's true. That's true. All right, I like that. So was Level Ball. So was Level Ball. I think Melanie has far more top placements in different kinds of decks than Mew does. No, Lost Box existed without Kyogre quite a bit, actually. Kyogre was just like a variant of Lost Box, which is already a broken deck that some people decided to play. But like not even everybody played the Kyogre in there. It very clearly, Kyogre was just like a different kind of variation on the powerful deck, which is Lost Box, which will be impacted almost none by the rotation of Kyogre, because people will just choose to play the other versions. Raihan not making top 10 would be sad. All right, well, we've got Celebrations Mew, I think is... You think Celebrations Mew better than Raihan? Probably. Raihan's pretty good, though. I mean, Raihan's in the conversation. Raihan is certainly, I think, like the 11 right now. I think I'm not going to include Flaffy on the list just because Flaffy was not good until Miraidon, right? So during all that time in the Sword and Shield block, Flaffy wasn't doing anything. So I think we can remove Flaffy from the conversation. Yeah. Which is sad, but it's true. Rain. That was Raihan. Yeah. So I think we can kind of just... I think I'm just here now. Clara, Fog, Crystal, Raihan. Clara, for a little while, Clara was even played in Gardevoir EX. I think you guys are forgetting that, right? I mean, Clara was like the only recovery card for a little while. And then Super Rod came out. The time between Ordinary Rod and Super Rod. And then Clara still sees play in like Sablezard decks. I don't know. Yeah, I'm willing to get Clara out of here. We could just get Clara out of here, bro. It could just be Fog Crystal Raihan full send. I think I like that. Yeah. Blammo. What do we think? Clara. All right, I'll pull Clara versus. All right. All right, anybody else on a dishonorable mention list? Shining Arcana. Okay. And Kyogre. Sure. All right, let me pull it out. Which card was more impactful during its standard lifespan? Raihan or Clara? What do you think? Kroger? Dang it. Flying Pika V. It's just too niche. It wasn't. Dang, Clara. Clara is going to send Raihan to the Shadow Realm, bro. What? Bro. All right, it's neck and neck. Clara, people saying Clara more impactful than Raihan. Raihan was played in Arceus decks, I think. Right? It totally was. Arcantelion. Raihan was played there. In every Arceus deck that did not play Water Energy, Raihan was there. And thank you, J Carr, for that gifted sub. Clara was played in Urshifu Moltres. Clara could bring back Moltres to do that Malevolent Charge play. It's true. Can also bring back Sableye. Can also bring back Cramorant, that kind of stuff. Oh, no, there's no ties. This list needs to be decisive. Dang, they are neck and neck. Raihan at 48 votes, Clara at 46. This is crazy. What's funny is that the only deck that Clara and Raihan still see play in is the same deck. Is it not the same deck? It's Sablezard. Clara sees play in Rapid Strike. That's true. It's a 2-of in Rapid Strike, right, to get back the energy for Inteleon. Sablezard uses Fog Crystal. That's true. Thank you, Market Dimly Lit, for the sub in the 13 months. Some Guardiolists at Portland still had Clara. Jesse says it's Clara and it's not close. The Raihan voters here are big GLC heads. I know. That's where my bias was coming in. I know. I know. I play Raihan in a whole bunch of GLC decks. I play Clara in almost none of them. I know. I have GLC brain. I know. I know I do. No, they can't share a spot. We need to be decisive. We've got 60 seconds. It is tied at 59-59. This is ridiculous. I will be to the deciding factor if I have to be. If it's a tie, then my vote clears it. 61-60. This is ridiculous. 40 seconds left. Make up your mind, chat. Make up your mind. This is for the 10 spot. 30 seconds. Clara up by 3. Raihan coming back. Oh, God. Raihan up by 3. 20 seconds left. Raihan up by 4. And now it's back to tied. Oh, my God. Clara up by 1. Clara up by 2 with 13 seconds left. Clara up by 1. Okay, Raihan up by 1. 7 seconds left. Can Clara make a comeback? Clara's down. 3 seconds to go. Oh, my God. That's crazy, bro. Ain't no way. All right, looks like Clara it is. Dang. Sheesh. I know. Raihan was robbed. Put an asterisk. 1 vote. One vote. That was the most back and forth voting that I've seen ever on Twitch. That was crazy. Yeah, Clara earned it. It's true. It did. All right. I think I'm happy with this list. I could probably... yeah, I could probably... Yeah, that clip there at the end of the voting should probably make it into the YouTube cut when I'm talking about the end of the list there, yeah. That's sick. Thank you, Brandon. Dang, 1 vote. Every vote counts, chat. Every vote counts. Okay, this is our top 10 list of most impactful rotated cards in standard formats. We have done it. VIP Pass, Mew VMAX, and Genesect V. We'll kind of just say that. Mew VMAX and Genesect. I'll probably just talk about those too. Last rotation hurt way more. Gosh, you guys want to go check out what we lost last year? All right, we got VIP Pass, Mew VMAX, and Genesect V, Path to the Peak, Escape Rope, Rapid Strike, Urshifu VMAX, Level Ball, Melanie, Celebrations Mew, Fawn Crystal, Clara. Okay, let's go. Top rotated Pokemon cards. 2023 Tricky Gym. It's been a while since our last standard rotation, about 1.5 years, but the time is almost here. April 14th, 2023, it's going. Before I get this party started, I'm gonna Ordinary Rod. Here's our honorable mentions. Okay. These were last year. I'm actually curious. I'm curious to look back and see. Orangaroo. Congratulations. None of you made the list. Now, if you don't like my list, well, tough. It's my list, not your list. Kicking off the top 10, we had Gormandize was our number 10. You guys remember Gormandize Snorlax? When did I stop saying what's up, everybody? Years ago. Ooh, what's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today I'm going to be... Yeah, haven't done that in a long time. That's, yeah, I'd rather just kind of get to the point, you know? No need to do all that. Just get to the point, you know? Galarian Zigzagoon was number 9. I know, Mr. Misters, I really slowed it down, didn't I? I know. I used to be... I think my old content was unwatchable. I cringed just looking at it. But it's okay. Thank God for all you guys who did. I appreciate that, Mr. Misters. Thank you. You know what actually really helped me? What helped me realize how much I sucked was doing the Top Deck Academy stuff. When I was doing the Top Deck Academy stuff, I had a producer from TPCI like kind of on a video call with me while I was producing this stuff, and she was kind of, shout out to Victoria, she was kind of coaching me on and her first like feedback was like, you just talk way too fast. You need to slow it down, take a deep breath, and basically chill out, right? And I was like, oh. And yeah, she kind of like really helped fix a lot of problems with me as a presenter. Yeah. Yo, Cryptid, I was your childhood. Yo, that's what's up. It's amazing. I cannot talk about the big project from last year, but you will learn about it one day. We had Gormandize Snorlax, we had Galarian Zigzagoon, Training Court, broken card. Evolution Incense, dang, broken card. I think it's a very common mistake to kind of like talk way too fast as a content creator, because you like have these things in your mind that you just want to kind of vomit out and get through it, especially if you're doing a rehearsed line. Like, what's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games, and today I'm going to be doing... Yeah, exactly. It's just like, if you've got that kind of rehearsed thing in your head, it's very easy to just kind of barrel through that, but it's super jarring, and it's super jarring and off-putting to people who don't know what you're doing, right? So it's really displacing. Like it makes it really hard for people to kind of like follow, because it's like you're getting blasted in the face with like you know, audio. So yeah, that was a big step forward in the evolution of my content, is that I had to realize how to take a deep breath. So thank you guys for bearing with me while I went through that phase of talking way too fast. I think it's a very common thing, and a lot of content creators kind of fall into that. But yeah, it's definitely is a big step up, when you can kind of learn to take a deep breath and present at an even keel. Well, definitely. If you've got like some people who got like, you know, turbo zoomer brain rot, they might actually prefer that because they go to every YouTube video and they're going to put the playback speed up to 2 times anyway. And they're going to watch every video while they're playing Subway Surfers and also, I don't know, doing Roblox or something like that. So like, but when you're talking about actually doing like professional work, you need to, if you want to be professional, you have to, like, you're not going to tune into a professional broadcast and they're not going to be like, yo, what's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games, and I'm going to be doing, you know, it's not going to be like that, right? The only time you hear people talk like that is with, like, maybe an auction. Right. But if you tune into any professional production, you have to speak at an even, you have to talk at an even pace, right? Or when they're calling off the vote between Clara and Raihan. True. Crobat V. Y'all remember Crobat V? Capture Energy. Card was broken. Yes, if sportscasters are working through a play that's happening in real time, then you may have to, you may get excited and like, and kind of like keep pace with the action, right? And that's natural because the action's happening fast. But in the introduction to a broadcast, there's no reason to come out spitting, right? You want to bring people in smooth. If you're calling out like the results of a horse race or something, you know, and you got these two jockeying for position and they're going back and forth and they're doing, yeah. Shady dealers. Number 4. Ooh, let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, see? Classic. Notice how it's let's get ready to rumble and not let's get ready to rumble. Notice how it's not, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. Yeah. But I used to talk way too fast, and I'm very thankful to TPCI and working with them, and you know, and they kind of helped me recognize that with my own delivery and helped me learn how to slow it down. Shady dealers at number 4. What do we have it? Dang, quick ball. Quick ball. That was a good card. Marnie. That was a good card. Scoop Up Net. That was a good card, huh? Dang, freaking Scoop Up Net. I gotta say, a Scoop Up Net was kind of broken. Absolutely broken card. Scoop Up Net with Intellience, Scoop Up Net with Comfies. You guys remember Scoop Up Net was legal with Comfy. And a flower selecting and a Scoop Up Net, and a flower selecting and a Scoop Up Net, and a flower selecting and a Scoop Up Net. Yeah. And I'll Shady Dealings for 2 trainer cards with my Intellion, and then I'll scoop up net, and then I'll evolve into Shady Dealings Intellion, and I'll search for 2 more trainers. Yeah, crazy. Marnie for a while was the only hand disruption we had. You used to Marnie your opponent turn 1, and then they'd draw 4 cards and then lose. Y'all remember that? Oh, that was sick. Turn 1 Marnie. Oh, I guess I'll just do nothing. Yo, quick ball and Ultra Ball in the same format. Dude, Mew VMAX used to go so hard with both of those. Mew VMAX was never the same. Yeah, I think they literally changed the support rule because of Marnie. The Shady Dealers. Yeah, last year's rotation hit way harder. Crobat, because even going down the line, you've got like Evolution Incense at number 7. You've got Crobat V at number 6. I mean, 9 and 10 were pretty. I mean, like Galarian, Zigzagoon, and Snorlax are pretty low. Training Courts, pretty good stadium. But yeah, like 7 on Evolution Incense, crazy card. Here we got VIP Pass. I mean, VIP Pass is like, I feel like just like last year with Scoop Up Net. Like, you look at that number 1 card and you're like, yeah, that card's broken. Right. Yeah. In the same way, you look at it and you're like, yeah, the number 1 card, yeah, that card's broken for sure, right? Like that whole card is completely broken. Mew VMAX, Path to the Peak, Escape Rope, Urshifu VMAX, Level Ball, Melanie, Celebrations Mew, Fawn Crystal Clara. Cool. Brandon's first rotation was the one where we lost Guzma. I couldn't believe how different standard. It was great. Guzma was crazy for the Pokemon TCG. Celebrations Mew and Fog Crystal need to swap. I don't necessarily think so. I'll let you guys vote on it, though. Sure. Yeah, it's funny that they don't really ever reprint stadiums. I did talk about Burnett, yes. Burnett was not that good of a card, but it is going to be leaving. Burnett is played like only in Lugia, only after Quick Ball rotated and Evolution Incense. Like, okay. No Energy Recycler. Energy Recycler is a niche played card. I mean, look at these other cards. These other cards had a lot more impact than Energy Recycler. Energy Recycler can easily be replicated by Super Rod. The entire concepts of V-Union summing to a whiff part. That's fine. I'm okay with like them printing a gimmick that just stinks. That's fine. I don't It's like, whatever. It's not the first time they've done it, and it certainly won't be the last, but Mewtwo V Union did win a regional. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but like looking at V Unions, I mean, you could pretty much tell just by looking at those things that they were not going to be consistent enough. They were not going to be consistent enough to like be serious, right? I mean, just look at them, right? You're like, that's silly. Like, I, for one, never looked at V Unions and were like, this is the future. Like, I'm going to have 4 pieces. None of them are going to be prized. And then I'm going to get them all into the discard pile. And then I'm going to summon my 3 prize Pokemon into play, and it's going to be broken. Like, no, I never really thought that. So for me, the expectation was pretty low for V Unions. And it looks like Celebration Mew here winning in a landslide over Fall Crystal. All right, I think that's locked in. This is going to be the top 10 rotated cards of 2024. And I think that's actually a good spot to cap off the stream, honestly. 4 hours? I knew we could talk about this for 4 hours. I knew it. I knew it. See, we didn't even have to boot up TCG Live. Isn't that nice? Just a nice 4-hour conversation about rotation. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for helping me and participating in the conversations. It was nice to kind of do a deep dive into the rotated cards so I can really mentally... I mean, this kind of really helps me mentally process which cards are going to be out of standard as well. And I hope that kind of has done the same for you all to help us prepare for the upcoming standard rotation, which again is going to be happening in April, in March on the Pokemon TCG Live, and in April for your tournaments. I'm very pleased with the list we came up with. I think it's solid. Kind of encapsulates the strongest cards that are going to be departing from standard. But again, if these cards rotating out of standard makes you sad, many of them will live on forever in Gym Leader Challenge. It's never been a better time to build your first GLC deck, if I do say so myself. That's it for the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a Gym Leader Challenge tabletop stream with Craig in the afternoon. So no morning stream tomorrow. It's going to be an afternoon stream. We'll probably start streaming around 3 p.m. Eastern. And I'll see you there. All right. Y'all take it easy and have a good one. Goodbye.